Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Juicy Bullet Film Reviews. Today is a very special episode. so, hold on, I gotta actually look at the time. So, today is actually Thaniel's birthday. So, happy birthday to you, Thaniel.
Thanks, John. I appreciate that.
And it's also the channel of my the birthday of my channel. They happen to have the same birthday. You're welcome, I guess, to everyone
Yeah.
watching this. It's a great day. And this video will be uploaded on the same day I uploaded my first video. So because it'll be uploaded by tomorrow morning, which is when I uploaded my first video. So a lot of things are happening. Happy birthday, Thaniel.
Completely accidentally made it like 2 years after I met you.
I really did. I wasn't even thinking about the date. I was just like, you know what? I'm going to start doing this. And so I made it, started uploading. Didn't even realize until Thaniel brought it up a couple of months ago that I created the channel on his birthday. So, anyway,
Oh man.
today's movie, as you
So
may have seen in the title and the thumbnail, is a movie called The Wrong Missy. Thaniel said he wrote down the director's name. I completely forgot to do that.
Tyler Spindle was the director.
Okay.
It had a lot of actors that I'm very familiar with. That was very pleasing to me.
And it's a much different movie than the ones that we've reviewed in the past.
Yeah,
This was
it really is.
a rom-com. And it fits that description perfectly.
I like it how most of the actors slash comedians that are in the show actually open up for each other in like when they go on tour, like the
Oh
comedians
yeah.
that go on tour,
Yep.
like they're all very familiar with each other's work. So I like
Mhm.
how movie just feels so effortlessly funny.
Mhm. Yeah. Even though there are a lot of like moments in there that are really out there, but it still is like this
Yeah.
could maybe happen. Except for one moment which was extremely hilarious, and I will be talking about that moment when we get to it.
Okay.
So Nathaniel actually has more
So
notes than me this time.
yeah, I haven't had any notes for the past two movies.
So that my notes take up almost one page. Thaniel apparently has a couple of pages. So I'm gonna put my keyboard down so that I can put my notes in my lap and not cause a weird shadow. And we'll get this thing underway.
So I like how the very beginning of the movie he's trying to go on this blind date and he
Mm.
doesn't know who this person is, where is she, and she about got David Spade, about got beat up by Roman Reigns. Roman freaking Reigns.
Yeah, yeah, she did.
Just trying to enjoy a casual conversation at the bar with his pregnant wife. Also, why is him and his pregnant wife at a bar
That is a
in the first
fantastic
place?
question. I didn't even think about that actually.
That was literally like in my notes. It says Roman Reigns, pregnant wife, bar question mark.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that. Why was she at a bar? Did she have a drink in front of her?
I don't think so.
I don't
I
remember.
don't think so. I don't.
I was at the beginning of the
Neither do
movie,
I.
and but
But
yeah.
so the Melissa plays is the actor for who plays Melissa is Lauren Lapkus. I'm assuming that I'm saying that right.
I have no idea.
Um, I've seen her in more of her comedian shows than I have in actual movies.
You mean
Um,
like in serious
I
stuff?
have like no in her stand up comedy. Like I've seen her in
Oh,
like
okay, okay. You know
like
her
I've
as a
seen her.
stand-up comedian.
Yeah, I don't really.
Okay,
I can't really remember a single movie that she's in.
okay, that makes sense.
However, I was very impressed with her acting because literally the next thing, the moment it shows her and she's just talking and trying to start a fight with Roman Reigns across the room, I put I put she's crazy, and then whatever happened at time slot 327, I put dot 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 times three.
At time slot. Wait, you wrote
So
the time markers down for when your notes are for?
no, not always. It's just it was literally from the time that she introduced herself to at 327. I'm like, okay, she's really like, at first I just put she's crazy, and then at 327 is like, okay, she's really crazy times three.
Oh, yeah. So my first note actually hits on that. This was like when they just sat down, and she just
Yeah,
started
exactly.
talking, and I simply wrote, "This woman is kind of annoying." Uh, little did I know that how bad it was really gonna get. Um, yeah, yeah. So it went from kind of annoying to my next note is she followed him to the bathroom? Question mark.
He was trying to he was trying to bathroom ditch Crocodile Dundee.
He was jumping out. He was trying to crawl out of the window in the back of the public restroom, and she
She
just
was even talking about
she didn't even like open the door to the stall. She literally slid on her back into the stall from underneath it. And
how greasy or wet did that floor have to be?
oh, very. It had to have been. And she didn't like yell or get angry. She was like, "What are you doing?" He was just like, "Yeah, I was crawling out of the window. I was gonna come through the front and surprise you." And she laughed. She,
and then and then she flashed Roman Reigns with Sheila.
yeah, her machete that she carries around in her bag.
Thus the crocodile Dundee.
This bitch is a lunatic. Uh, and then she called Roman Reigns Aquaman,
Yeah.
which I thought was
See,
funny.
so I almost questioned if he was Roman Reigns or not because
I
I was like, wait,
That's why I was
I was
confused.
I was like, is he Jason Momoa or is he Roman
I was
Reigns?
like, that Jason Momoa's the one that played Aquaman, and all I really recognized off of Roman Reigns was his arm tattoo. But Jason Momoa also has tattoos on that same arm. So I was like, was that Jason Momoa? Um, it was not. It was Roman Reigns. But it honestly wouldn't surprise me to find out that Roman Reigns had been considered for that role, for the role of Aquaman.
You mean,
It wouldn't have
yeah,
surprised me too much.
yeah. Um, so the last thing that was really funny about that scene was when he actually fell out of the bathroom.
And
Or he no, actually before that. So after she left the bathroom, the another man walked out of the stall,
yet walked out of the other stall.
and then he fell outside. And
After she had literally just talked about trying to squeeze out a shit, even though she
yeah,
didn't feel like she had to. And that guy got out of that bathroom in a fucking hurry.
well, I would too. I would too.
I wouldn't have been able to resist laughing from the other stall.
Yeah,
But like, what?
I
At
like
first, my thought
how
would have been like a
she.
woman in the men's room, and then my next thought would have been, what is this conversation? Like, what is happening in this room right now?
I found it really fun that I found it really funny when he had dislocated like his arm or his he dislocated something, his
It was
like
his
leg,
ankle.
his ankle, and she's like, all right, on three. One, two, three. Nothing happens. Four.
Oh, which is the opposite of what you're actually supposed to do. You're actually supposed to go on one or two, not on three. Because they're expecting it at
Yeah,
three, they're not expecting it before three. So the fact that she did
but
it
he
on
wasn't. He
four
definitely wasn't.
actually made it
He wasn't
more
definitely.
painful.
Oh man.
Because he was super tense expecting it to happen at three, and then it didn't.
Yeah.
So it would actually, theoretically, that would actually hurt worse. Um, oh, that was the first moment in the movie where I actually like chuckled. It was funny.
I
Because
chuckled
before that, the bathroom
too.
scene, I was mostly like concerned. I was like, what is happening here? Like,
Hmm.
why is this a thing that's happening? And she, yeah, the moment she pulled out Sheila, I was like, okay, this bitch really is nuts. Oh,
Uh, the airport.
yeah, yeah, the airport.
This man literally bumps into a woman, makes them both miss their flight, has the same carry bag, has the same book, same everything. Both of them don't drink, and they nearly have janitor closet sex.
Almost.
Almost.
Yep, it was close. Uh,
So, question of the day:
oh, excuse me.
if you randomly bumped into someone and you both missed your flight, would you have janitor closet sex with them?
Dude, I'm always down for janitor closet sex.
I'm judging you now. I'm judging you now.
What's wrong with janitor closet
Uh,
sex? At least it's clean.
I
God.
mean, yeah. My next note after that is head of HR is way too chatty and too snoopy. Would make great private investigator.
Oh, yeah, no. He talks too much. He'd rat himself out.
Okay, aside from the talking too much, he would be
Yeah.
able to find out something
Um
flash.
so my next two notes hit on what you've already talked about. So many Melissas is one of my notes because the woman he bumped into at the airport was also called Melissa. They were both Melissas, which then the title starts to make sense because I'm
Wrong,
like, something's
Missy.
gonna happen, and he's gonna end up with the wrong one. Um, and my next note there is this HR guy is creepy. Like he was snooping on Tim's computer. He knew everything that he had been texting. Like, it, it was weird. It was really weird to me. And
So before we find out that he ends up texting the wrong Melissa, um, I liked how, even though it's a comedy, they kind of hit on the fact how the real truth of texting someone that you just met. Like he thought, he was going through all these like different, like he was trying to like think of the perfect text
oh yeah,
because
yeah,
he had just met this person the first
yeah,
time.
yeah.
Um,
And it actually shows him like
he,
writing several different texts and deleting them
mm-hmm.
before finally settling on one. Yeah, which
And then
you don't see stuff like that very often in film.
lower on lower on my notes after we see the HR guy again, I said this HR guy seriously.
Yeah, no, my next note isn't until the plane. Actually, I think we don't see the HR guy again until after the plane.
I think I kind of went out of order on my notes,
Yeah, I don't
but
remember.
like because we, but, I I got notes on the plane as well.
Yeah, because my next note is that man on the plane is a real trooper. The man that he has to
Yeah,
smell his
no,
breath.
smelling his
Yeah.
breath. No.
Yep. The plane scene was when I realized that this was going to be the rest of this movie was just going to be hilarious.
Oh, trust me, I horse laughed.
I
I
yeah.
horse laughed. I horse laughed a few times. Um. So
uh,
yeah, no, my immediate notes after we realized that it was the first Melissa.
mhm.
Um. I put like in very quick response. She drugged him and jacked him off.
Yes, she did.
But
She
that's not what
drugged
made me
him with
horse laugh.
dog tranquilizers, by the way.
So the thing that made me horse laugh was when once you realized that everyone knew what they were doing, and the black woman right behind him said, "You're
You're
going
going
to
to
hell."
hell. And then Missy's like, "Does anybody have a tissue?" And the guy that she said was asleep just hands her his
Mr. Brett
his
Miller,
his uh what's the word I'm
across
looking
from him,
for? It was a magazine. Jesus shit.
magazine. Yep.
Yeah. And she just looks at him and she's like, I knew you were awake. Because he was not quiet about it. Um, when
They had
he reached his
turbulence.
climax. But it did happen to be during turbulence. So at first I was like, maybe nobody will actually realize what's happening. And then it showed the
Oh, they
wider shot
know.
of the people around their seats, and I was like, oh no, they know. And then the black woman said, "You're going to hell," and I did laugh.
I lost it.
I laughed quite hard at that actually. Oh, it was so the look on her face was perfect. It was beautiful.
So after a plane scene, so whenever you like go on Netflix and you see all the actors that they list on there, one actor they did not list on this movie that I was very pleasantly to see was actually in this movie was Sarah Chalk. She plays the ex fiance as
Mm.
Julia. Um, I've always been a big fan of her ever since Scrubs, and the only time that I've really seen her on film lately has been either Scrubs or How I Met Your Mother for a few episodes. But
Mm.
and then also on iHeartRadio because during quarantine, Zach Braff and
Excuse me.
Donald, basically the main two people in Scrubs, they started an iHeartRadio podcast and had Sarah Chalk on there a few times. So that's always nice. So that made me even more interested in the movie once I realized that more actors that I knew were in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I put that the first Melissa is absolutely bad shit.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, that much is very much apparent. Um, from like the very beginning of the film, it was very apparent that this chick, something's not right up there.
Yeah.
Yeah, my next note is he's somehow going to fall for her, isn't he? Uh,
See, I didn't really think that until way later. Um, but the next thing that I have in my notes is when she said she fell in the toilet, and you hear a big
yes,
splash,
yes,
and she's actually has taken all of her clothes off
yep.
and is in the bathtub,
Mm-hmm.
and he's trying to convince her to stay in the bathtub. And it's like, put some more bubbles in, maybe a toaster.
Yeah, I I laughed so hard at that moment. Like that was so fucking funny, and because he like mumbled it under his breath.
Like
so
you can hear it
so
plain as day.
yeah, but like if you weren't really paying attention, like if you were just looking away at that moment or something, you might not have even noticed he said it. Um,
Mm-hmm.
because he looked down a little bit when he said it too. He
I was
was
like,
like,
maybe.
put some more bubbles in there, maybe a toaster. It was such a funny moment, and I was like, oh my goodness, she's not the only comedy in this film. Like he is going to be funny. I've got to get
I
what I
mean,
want out of
David
this.
Spade. David Spade's always funny. Like
Exactly. But up to that point, like he hadn't really had many funny
good
lines.
liners.
Yeah, there weren't a lot of because he's also very much like a one-liner sort of like comedian. He
Guy,
just
yeah.
says like one line and it's fucking hilarious.
Like maybe a toaster.
Yeah, exactly. And he hadn't really had many of those. There were a couple that were kind of chuckle worthy, especially when he was talking to the
Mm-hmm.
HR guy. Um,
Man, that dude.
that dude was something else.
Okay, so most of my notes are on the first Melissa.
Mm.
The second half of my notes is the HR guy.
I didn't. I tried not to take too many notes about like restating things that I had already said. So I didn't really repeat things like, this bitch is nuts. In my head, I kept thinking, how did she get worse? Like,
Well, see, they're my notes for the HR guy. They're the same, but they're different at the same time. Now the whole his boss's idea of Shark Tank was interesting.
yes. Yes, it was. Um,
I liked
the guy in
how
charge of
they
the boat was hilarious to me.
yeah, we got to meet Comanche, who was played as from by Rob Schneider.
Mm-hmm. I thought he looked familiar.
Um, yeah, no, Rob Schneider was in some really like when in his younger days, he was in some really funny, really crazy films
I
that I enjoy.
I fucking love Rob Schneider.
Um, one of my favorite lines that one of my favorite lines he said on the boat. He was like, if you see that shark, tell him I said what's up.
Oh man, that whole boat
That
thing in
you
general
took
was just it was golden. Pure
you took 3 of my fixes, but you left the nub.
pure comedic gold.
Beat the shark with his nub.
He did. He did. The fingers
I
that the
honestly
shark had
thought the
bitten
boss
off
was gonna
before.
die.
Oh, I did too. Uh
Like I thought he died.
yeah. Uh I thought either he was going to die or the moment they came up to the surface he was going to fire Tim.
Yeah,
Cuz he like punched him and kicked him in the face and panicked.
blood
There
everywhere.
was blood everywhere. Like I thought either this man's
But
going
we
to
forgot
die
one
or he's
important
going to
thing though.
fire this other man.
The only reason the shark showed up was because the first Melissa was trying to chum.
Shoot. The sign clearly says no chumming.
And then look after the fact, after all they're on dry land, it was like, did you see the sign that said no chumming?
so so
And
funny.
then right at
And
that point,
the,
second Melissa starts texting him.
but hold on. The chum
Mm-hmm.
bucket, which I found amusing, because SpongeBob, uh, ended up all of the contents went into
Chum
Melissa's
bucket.
face. Yeah, see, you get it now. They were
I
out in the
do.
ocean and a chum bucket. Anyway, some of the chum ended up going in Melissa's mouth and in her face and in her hair, and she threw up over the top of this tank that Tim and his boss are
Yeah.
in. and her barf is what actually attracted that shark
I
in
find
the
it funny
first
how they saw
place.
the shark coming, and then they start like just having casual conversation.
I took a mental note of what they were talking about, and then I completely forgot what it was. But it was like some
Whales,
television show. Oh, Free Willy. They were talking about Free
Free
Willy.
Willy.
He was like, I personally loved Free Willy, but I can understand why you wouldn't love it. He was like, the whale just wasn't personable. Like, I didn't feel attached to the whale.
Freaking Rob Snyder.
It was so funny. And then it cuts back to in the tank or in the cage, and these guys are panicking and like on the brink of death, basically. And then it cuts back up to the boat, and everybody's just dancing, and there's music playing. Like, what the fuck? Oh, it was so funny. But yeah,
I love it how she was like complaining. She was like mad at him, and she said, "You definitely brought the wrong Missy."
yeah, yeah,
And I was like, "Hey, there's a movie title."
yeah. But then under his breath, he mumbled, "You have no idea." And then she immediately falls into some like water mud pit thing, and then instantly pops up
Yeah,
like four
no,
feet away. I
I called her old Greg at that point.
was like, "What the hell?" uh,
My my next note is the HR dude messed up big time when she was talking to her neighbor about their sex and during
mm,
their sex scene. Come to find out, it's the boss's wife,
mm-hmm. Yeah,
and she convinced him to leave him.
yeah, yeah. I'm forgetting the order of things. Was that before she jumped off the cliff or after?
I think she jumped off the cliff before the shark take.
Did she?
Yes, because I think so.
Yes.
Because
Yes, she did.
I
Uh,
called her Superwoman. Yeah,
cause that's where my next note is she missed the ocean. She
big time.
jumped off a cliff over the ocean and missed. She hit the beach, and on her way down, she smacked her like head on the cliff. She hit like a tree that was sticking out of the cliff, and then she landed on the beach about 4 feet away from the water.
Yeah.
And I was laughing, but I was also like, is she gonna fucking like die somehow? Like, is like
See,
what
at
the
that
fuck?
point,
This movie's not
that
even
didn't
near
really make
over.
me. The only thing that I wrote beside that was the fact that she was calling David Spade's character an alcoholic the entire time,
Mm.
when
But
in
she was
fact
actually an
she was the
alcoholic.
alcoholic. Yep.
But yeah, like she started moving again after after landing there, and David Spade Tim was like, she's alive, and the HR guy was like, damn it. He was clearly upset that she was still breathing. And she got up and was like, I hope somebody got that on video, and then got hit by a wave. and,
Yep.
and it cuts to him throwing her on the bed, unconscious.
Dirty, dirty sand sex.
Is what followed that, yes. She was like
They both,
slapping him in the face.
because he willingly took a dog tranquilizer.
Yes, he did. Uh, he laid down in bed next to her, and he just stared at the ceiling for a second. He's like, "No, this isn't gonna work." And he took a dog tranquilizer on purpose, and woke up to her riding him.
When she thought it was his ex, or he thought it was his ex.
Yeah, that yes, he did.
I honestly thought he was dreaming at first, and
I
I was
did
like, wait a
too.
minute, nope.
I
And I was
did
like,
too at
nope, nope,
first.
nope, nope,
Yeah.
nope.
But I was like, there's only one way that this exact thing would be happening, and he was dreaming, and that's if Missy was actually riding him. But in his dream, it was his ex fiance. But no, he was just awake and sort of hallucinating.
Yeah,
Until she slapped him.
repeatedly.
Yeah, it was so funny. Uh,
At one point, I did. At one point, I did point, or before, after we realized that his boss and boss's wife were having an argument. I put in here: is there going to be a happy ending? Question mark.
yeah. Um, I hadn't even actually really thought about that. Um, I don't know. That was like the part of the film where I was starting to get like really, really engrossed into it. Um, because just so much shit was happening so quickly. I started
Yeah, no,
losing focus on
yeah.
my note taking.
I ended up having to pause the movie and just walk away because there was just so much ridiculous stuff going on, and I was just like, you know what? I'm just gonna like pause, walk away, collect myself.
Like her reading palms at the party and telling that
Her
guy
reading
that she was going to
palms,
die
her
on the plane ride unless he was on her plane because she was gonna live.
along a wonderful life.
Yeah.
And then
Uh,
she's a therapist.
yeah. Yeah. And a lot of things.
I put that too. She's a lot of things.
Uh huh. Yeah. She's apparently certified in just about everything that's certifiable, including insanity. Just for the record.
Yeah, no, it was so she basically caused his boss to almost break his neck.
Yeah. Yeah. She did. And then
I
she
don't know if
hypnotized
you.
him.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I was like, they were doing the presentation between his team and the female, which I can't remember her name, but her nickname was the Barracuda,
Mm-hmm.
and I was just finding that he was way too easily amused, and I was like, question mark, and then I was like, oh my god, she hypnoed him.
Yeah.
However, comma, I did put honestly, she didn't need to hypno him for the presentation. Her singing sucked.
Yes, it did. Yes, it did. And actually, I really liked the shadow dancing performance. I thought that was amusing.
Yeah, and then I put because people started calling her Missy, and I said Missy is dangerous.
Yes, very.
And then I put he started kind of liking her, and she talked about her life story, and I
Mm-hmm.
was like, not completely crazy.
Yeah, yeah. I started to actually kind of feel for her at that point. I was like, hey, I
I
can
felt bad.
understand that.
I felt bad for her, and then I felt bad for Sarah Chalk's character, the ex fiance, because she was like just kind of staring off into the distance, kind of like, I wish I had that. And next thing you know,
Yeah.
her current boyfriend who's is just like, oh, by the way, I'm putting a pool in the garage. I've already decided. And I'm just like, that's a dick move.
Yeah. Yeah. And yeah. That was like the turning point of the film. Um because Tim actually started to like Missy. He started to appreciate her.
And he was
Uh,
ignoring the girl too.
yes, he was. He started ignoring the other Melissa who was texting him. And my next note is they beat the shit out of his ex.
See, before that, I actually have a few notes before that.
Really? Okay.
Um, to prelude to what you're talking about.
Hmm.
Um, so he's trying to get weed so they can have sex while they're high. And he's got weed deodorant, he's
That
got
scene
weed
was
toothpaste,
hilarious.
he's weed cream, and I was like, oh my god, Kamanti's back
Yeah. When the camera panned out and he was sitting on the sofa, it's like,
with
yes,
weed cream,
just
weed hair growth
everywhere.
cream, and then he was like just reapplying in his
Reapplying it to his
junk,
bush. He was like, I got the biggest bush on the island. So
and
funny.
at this, which at that point, the ex goes and ends up talking to Missy. They both get drunk,
Hmm.
um, and they she asks if there's weed, or they decide that they're gonna have a threesome.
Hmm.
Ask if there's weed, and then they all brush their teeth together before they have sex.
Because they were using the weed paste, which is what I
Now the other
affectionately
two,
refer to it as weed paste.
which my notes now, or the note that I have that kind of combines with yours, he beat the crap out of her, and she was definitely third wheel
Oh
in this
yeah.
threesome.
Oh yeah. She didn't even really get to participate in the threesome for longer than 10 seconds.
I mean, she got to kiss Missy. I mean,
Yeah,
she got to
she
make
made
out with
out with
Missy. That was
Missy
about it.
for about 7 seconds.
David
Uh,
Spade was so awkward.
oh yeah, it was super awkward. At first, my initial thought was like, he's going to end up being the third wheel. Like these two women are just
That's what
gonna
I
have
initially thought
sex, and
too.
he's gonna just sit there and watch. Um, but then he got in there, started making
Yeah,
out with Missy, and they just started accidentally beating the shit out of his ex. Like, Missy
physically,
came back and like headbutted her in the face on accident. David
he
Spade
take his
went to go
shirt
take his
off
shirt
and
off and
like
elbowed her in
clothesline
the
her.
face. They go and flip over and kick her in the face. And she just gets up and just starts like pointing at the door and walks out. I was honestly in my head. I was surprised that she hadn't already done that. Like honestly, for me, after getting
So
elbowed or getting hit the first time, I'd already been out. I'd been like, nope, this isn't
I
worth it.
understand. Yeah. The only other thing that I put on there right after that was the fact that the hypnotism was going too far.
Yes. You probably wrote that during the party at the beach.
Yes.
Yeah. See, my note for that party at the beach was the timeout chair was hilarious.
Yeah. That was the next horse lap for me was
They get to the party and this guy is on a little tiny blue chair in front of a palm tree. And they ask him what's going on. He explains about like releasing the shackles of adulthood or some shit like that. and, and they're like, "Why are you sitting here?" It's like, "You put me in a timeout. Actually, I have 10 minutes
still got
left,
10
so I should
minutes.
probably get back to the." It was so funny. And then my next mental note was Tim like falling over in the mermaid suit thing and like flopping into the ocean.
Blah blah blah. So I actually had two horse laughs in that scene. The second horse laugh in that scene was like when he was calling when the boss was calling him grandma. I was like talking about like how you met grandpa and
Yeah.
you know.
You'll tell me how you met Grandpa during
Um
World War II.
I will say this though, however. This is when the movie gets a lot more serious
Hmm.
than funny. Because the other girl who's trying to get the promotion, she ends up preluding to the fact that that Missy wasn't supposed to be there.
Yes. She told Missy
And
she wasn't supposed to be there.
and then when she looked at and man, this is such a big topic. I mean, such a big topic when you're in a relationship or you're talking to someone. But she decided to go through his phone,
Yes.
and And honestly, I don't blame her.
Not entirely, no. Yeah, I don't really
Not
blame her either.
entirely. The moment that she read all those texts, though, my first thought was, is she going to break the hip?
Ooh, my internet just
Because
suddenly got back.
there was like a phrase that would break the hypno.
Yeah, it was something really stupid, like hairy werewolf vagina, hairy yellow werewolf vagina banana or some shit like that.
Yellow.
Um, wow, you are frozen and cutting out. Okay, hello. Technical difficulties, ladies and gentlemen, they happen. Oh, I'm not. Ooh. Hold on just a second.
Hello.
Technical difficulties, ladies and gentlemen. I think we fixed them. Okay.
Don't think he did.
Oh, well,
Wait, you say something.
hello.
Yeah, we're good.
All right, cool.
We are yellow bananas.
We're good to go.
Anyway, yeah. So I thought she was gonna break the hypnotism. Like, I thought like
Mm,
everything was gonna like, I thought everything was gonna come raining down on him.
yeah.
And then the Missy the Melissa that he wanted to show up ended up showing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then he starts drinking, falls off the roof, and then explains to her that he's fallen in love with the other Missy, and she's completely
Yeah. She was like, we made out in a janitor's closet at an airport. I think I'm gonna be okay.
yeah.
Yeah, she was really chill about it.
So my last note about it, he's fire HR dude.
I liked HR guy. He was weird, but I liked him. He was weird and creepy, but kind of lovable.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, my last note
Yeah.
isn't
No,
until the very end of the film.
okay. So I think I have one at the end of the film, and then I have one during credits.
Oh, during credits, huh? I didn't actually watch the credits. The movie ended and I closed it out.
Oh God, you need to go, you need to go. You need to go back and do it just for that one scene.
Oh, there's another scene?
So like there's a scene with Rob Schneider and the dude that was supposed to not go into a plane.
Oh, after this, I'm definitely going back and watching that. It's definitely
Um,
happening.
so my thing was he tried to play the same prank on her and it backfired.
Yeah, because he ended up directing her to Vanilla Ice, of all people. Oh man,
Vanilla Ice of all
that was
people.
another moment where I basically died of laughter.
And
And
he called
and
David Spade dick, which I thought was kind of funny.
yeah, yeah. So my last note is very simply the line that Vanilla Ice said, "Not a chance, shrimp dick," because she was talking about how when they have sex later, she's going to imagine Vanilla Ice instead of him, and he's like, "Why not just have invite the real thing with us?" And that was Vanilla Ice's response. Not a chance, shrimp dick.
So, would you like me to talk about the as our closing topic? Talk about the end credits.
I have not seen it. I didn't see it, but I have to. I have to see it.
Would you like me to talk about?
The real question is this scene on YouTube so that I can just watch it right now on my phone?
I mean, just gonna cut the up.
Fuck it, ladies and gentlemen, we're doing it live. This is how we do this show. This is the wrong app entirely. Don't mind me.
Well, everybody is, ladies and germs, ladies and germs. While John is looking this up, we are going. I'm going to go ahead and say, you know, I would imagine I speak for John in this as well. We appreciate everyone who watches these or watches these movie reviews. We really do appreciate them. We do definitely appreciate people who
Oh, for
give us a
sure.
list of movies to watch. Um, and I am drawing a blank who recommended this movie. He has the person who's been recommending these movies have been watching us a lot, and I do appreciate that personally. And
Yes.
in the comments, what movie do you think we would do next? We are going to be doing a Sean Connery movie eventually, and we are still going to be doing other movies that are currently on our list. But yeah, always put in the comments what you like for us to watch. We're doing stuff like that.
Okay, I can't see it. I can't find it on YouTube, so. But yes, I fully agree with everything you just said. We do greatly appreciate every single one of you who watches these and comments. We would like to add more movies to our list of movies, though. We're actually running a little bit low on films. Um,
I mean, technically, not really.
it,
It's more of we are running on low on films that I haven't
yes. Um,
because this is the first movie in a while that I have that neither me or John have seen.
mm-hmm. Yeah. And it was fucking hilarious, by the way. If
Oh yeah, totally.
so, definitely I would recommend this movie. Um, but yeah, we do greatly appreciate it. Each and every one of you, even if you only watch for like a couple of minutes, at least you clicked on the video, and it does mean a lot to me, especially who that like you clicked on on something that I've put out there. I greatly appreciate every single one of you. I know Thaniel appreciates each one of those clicks too. Um, but yeah, yeah, I do
Seems like
agree.
I always
And
enjoy these reviews.
please comment literally any movie that you think we would enjoy, even movies that you think we might hate. Who knows? It's just take some of the movies you enjoy, or even movies that you think would be funny to like listen to us review, and
There's like
and
probably like two
comment the
movies in this
names.
universe that I will. There are two movies in this universe that I will refuse to watch.
Okay, what are they? Just so the ladies and gentlemen at home know.
Live action Avatar: Last Airbender, live action Death Note. I am not watching that.
Okay, well, those two movies, barring those two movies, you you can tell us literally any film, and we'll at least try to find a way to watch it.
Yeah,
Currently,
so if
the things that I have easy access to are Netflix and Hulu. So if it's on Netflix and Hulu, I can watch it like right now. If it's not, I'm sure we can find a way eventually to find the things that aren't on
yeah,
those. But those ones will take us a little bit more time because, well, I'm also broke, so I can't afford to just like rent a film. I have $20 in my wallet, and that's all the money I have to my name at the moment.
and I'm trying to save
So,
money. So
yeah. So, if it's on Netflix and Hulu, we'll get to it as quickly as possible. If it's not, we'll get to it eventually.
sorry if I'm swiping off notifications. People wishing me happy birthday
Yes. Um. So yeah, recommendations in the
because I
comments
am
for
currently
films.
trying to save. Currently trying to save money for that trip when you move to Texas.
Yes. Yes. I am moving to Texas in the not too distant future. So that's a thing that's happening in my life. Uh, and yeah, I have $20.
And once he moves to Texas, I will save up some money so I
This is
can
going to be
officially meet
interesting.
John.
Yeah, Daniel and I have been friends for a very long time. Um, Never met face to face. We live on opposite ends of the country. So I live on the West Coast, he lives on the East Coast. So we live in entirely
Yeah.
different areas. Um, but yeah, been friends for a long, long time. um,
Yeah, no, our friendship anniversary hit for 8 years in November.
yep. Yeah, it's been a long time, ladies and gentlemen. We know each other pretty well at this point. For two people who have never actually been in the same room, we know each other pretty fucking well.
Truth.
Um, but yeah, so we do have. I actually have some thumbnails made for some movies. And by I have thumbnails made, I mean I've had thumbnails made for me. For some
Which are
movies.
the what are the thumbnails that you already have made for movies that we have not done yet?
Let me open Discord on my phone again and tell you, because that's where they are located. I have a thumbnail for The Night Before. This
Which one we
film.
did that?
We haven't done The Night Before. We did The Nightmare
Wait.
Before Christmas, but not The Night
Oh,
Before.
okay, gotcha.
It's a holiday
Okay,
film. I have
okay.
a thumbnail for this movie. I have a thumbnail for Home for the Holidays, which was another one that was recommended when we were asking in the last review for like a Thanksgiving movie and a Christmas movie. This was one of those two. They also recommended a Sean Connery movie, and I have a thumbnail for that. It is the movie Just Cause. So those are the
Okay.
thumbnails that I have currently for
All right.
film reviews.
Wham bam. Please comment.
Mm,
Um, Out of those thumbnails that John just listed for us, go ahead and vote, and that will be the next movie that we will do a review for
indeed, it will be.
after
So.
I play Cyberpunk for weeks.
Yeah, that's going to take up a lot of his time. Um, so there's that. Anyway, do we have anything else that we want to mention about this movie real quick before
Do you
we
want
end
me to
the
mention
film?
the end credits, or
You
do you
may
want
as
me to
well.
save
You may
that
as
for you
well
review?
mention
Okay,
it.
so at the end of credits, we have Comanche, Rob Schneider, and the man who was not supposed to get into a plane get into a paddle boat, and they're trying to paddle back to Portland. And Rob Schneider's character mentions he's like. So I know you mentioned. I know you've noticed, or he's asking him if he wanted to use the hair growth cream, and mentioned his bulging bush. And he said, "I was like, oh, I thought that was a belt." And he said, "Nah." He said, "You can go ahead and tug on if you want." He's like, "No, I'm good." And he's like, "Well," he's like, "When the sun goes down, you can tug on it as much as you want."
Oh boy,
It's
that sounds about
yeah.
right. Oh boy.
Oh, so the other thing I did say though, I teared up at the end. He talking about David Spade.
Mm,
He got what he needed. He got what he needed, not what he.
yes. Yep. Which it might hurt to not get what you want, but if you get what you need, that's even better in the end.
That was the best part of the movie. That was the best part of the movie for me. Was the fact that in the end, he got what he needed, not what he wanted. And
Yes.
that is my parting message to all of you on YouTube.
Mm-hmm. It's a good message. It's a very good message. So, that concludes this review. I have no idea how long this is. I didn't set a timer. So, thank you, ladies and gentlemen, so much for watching. If you liked it, hit the thumbs up button. Lets us know that you're enjoying what you're seeing, what you're hearing. If you didn't like it, go ahead and hit the thumbs down button. We don't give a fuck. Obviously, we would appreciate it if you would hit the thumbs up button instead of the thumbs down button, but you know, you don't have to if you don't want to. Anyway, subscribe if you haven't already, and you know, ding that
Ding
bell
that
and all that good
bell.
stuff. Yeah, yeah. I always forget about dinging the bell. I forget it exists. Um, which, you know, I shouldn't be forgetting about features that might actually help my channel
As a
grow.
content creator, I don't think you should be forgetting.
It would be it would behoove me to remember to remember the things that might actually help my channel grow a little bit. We're at
Yeah, man,
117 subscribers.
just use some of that weed cream.
Just rub a little weed cream on my URL.
Slap it on your channel.
Just rub some weed cream on my URL. Oh, there we go. Nailed it. Rub it all over the subscribe button. Like, yep, grow, buddy, grow. Anyway, thank you again for watching these two lunatics review silly movies and shit. And we'll see you next time. Goodbye, ladies and gentlemen.
Bye.